Good morning. Good morning. I'm Tim. Welcome to Tuesday. It looks like we made it through Monday. We did it. Now we just got to get through the rest of the week. Today I'm going to be working on shoulders. So it's going to be a lot of fun. And start out with some lateral raises. This is a stream of my workouts for the year. Doing a body transformation this year. The thing that sets this body transformation apart from others is that I'm not using any sort of supplements. So no protein supplements, no uh, BCAs, no creatine, no pre-workouts. Just trying to get all my nutrients from the food that I eat. So that is the deal. Um, Secondary reason for not taking supplements is that they're not cheap. One of my kids started preschool. Cutting out supplements saves me at least $100 a month. That's $1,200 a year. Probably more now because I haven't looked at the cost of supplements in over a year or since the beginning of the year. So I'm sure that like everything else, they've gone up. But that's it. Gonna be working on some lateral raises, just warming up with some 10 pounds or 4.5 kilogram weights. Here we go. Had a good week or good Monday. Yesterday I went to the swimming pool. We go to this local public pool sometimes, and it's nice because it's shallow. It has one really big shallow pool, which the kids can now all stand in, which is fun. Uh, but we typically go on the weekends, and for some reason, the weekends it's completely empty. You would think like on a Saturday that the pool would be just swarming, but it's not. It's the week. They have all these camps, and that pool fills up so much with kids. Man, I don't know how many kids fit in this pool, but it was pretty jam packed yesterday. I cannot imagine the stress of being a lifeguard in that situation. And they're constantly having to whistle at kids to stop force playing, stop running, and I that would stress me out. It'd be stressful. one of the parts that's like rough sometimes when you're a involved dad, you have the ability to go do things with your kids, time time wise. Not every dad or mom can, but when you're there with your kids and you're having fun, like pulling your kids to the water or something, and then some other kid that wants you to do the same thing to them, you're like, oh man, I can't. I'm not your parent. I can't like hold you up and throw you or do things. Um, I don't see where your parent is. I'm like, just can't grab random kids and start throwing them into the air. The last thing you want is some parent or chaperone for their children's camp coming over and yelling at you for tossing a child that's not your own. Then you feel bad. Morning to or good day to whoever just popped in. Hope your Tuesday's going good. Just working on some lateral raises. Just doing sets 15 with the 20 pounds, 9.07 kilograms. So much fun. Lateral raises are not my favorite exercise. So like they take so long to progress in compared to other muscle groups. But you just gotta keep plugging away. Remember, like when I first started out doing a set of 10 with even the 10-pound weights was like difficult. And when you're in a gym full of guys and you're doing 5-pound weights, it's a little humiliating. But you just gotta work through and say like, only one way. Only one way to move up. And if you're not willing to look a little silly with some 5-pound weights, you'll never get bigger. You'll just stay at that level. See, I have to get better at this because my kids are getting bigger, and so they're fighting with each other more. And I think it would be awesome to be able to do that thing like in the movies where you separate them and you're holding one kid in one hand and one kid in the other. That looks like the pretty cool move to make. Look like a superhero. We've been teaching our kids about junk food and eating good. And like when we're camping and stuff, there's a lot of like junk food, and you got s'mores and you got snacks and stuff to eat all day. What we've been talking about, like why your tummy might hurt and stuff. And so yesterday, one of my kids set up a doctor's office in the living room. They like to, play doctor, and so they were telling me that they were X-raying my stomach, and they're like, "Oh, you've got a lot of junk food in there, Dad, and sushi. That's why you don't feel good. You need to eat better food." Okay, okay, you're right. You're right, Doc. I always think it's funny when you're at the pool, the range, like at a public pool, the range in like people's swimsuit attire. You go from people that are in almost street clothes, like shorts and t-shirts, to like there'll be randomly someone that looks like they're supposed to be at like a pool party in Vegas or something, in some like string bikini, and they're like, oh, you like stand out a lot. You seem very out of place. I assume that they are wearing whatever they're going to be wearing when they go on vacation, though. So they're getting their tan lines all sorted out. But it just looks very funny. Just a little overdressed or underdressed for the pool setting. All right, so that is the 5th set of 15 reps with the 20 pounds, 9.07 kilogram dumbbells. So this is the first week I've been able to do all 15 or all 5 reps of 15, 5 sets of 15. That means next week, if I can do the same, I can repeat this week's work next week. It will mean that after that, it's time to increase weight and start doing the sets of 15 with 25 pounds. Start pushing it up. I feel like 5 sets at the top means you can be able to keep going on. That's exciting. One of those like good feelings, but also, you know, it's gonna suck for a while. It's always some mixed emotions when working out. Every accomplishment comes with a reward of more weight. That's why you have to really enjoy weightlifting to go far with it. Because the constant reward for doing good in weightlifting is just more weightlifting, bigger weights. If that's not something that you enjoy, it'll be a rough road. Hello to whoever popped in. Hope you're doing well. Working shoulders today. Finished 5 sets of 15 with the 20 pounds. That's 9.07 kilograms. Moving down to the 15s. We're going to try to knock out 5 more sets of 15 with the 15 pounds, 6.8 kilogram dumbbells. That is where we are at. A minute before I hit it again, or less than a minute. Try not to let any of my pauses exceed a minute, and ideally jumping back into it within like around 30-second mark. I think I tried to like just keep my break period down so my muscles don't like just completely recover. Because if you go longer than a minute in between breaks, it feels like you're like starting over again to get exhausted. Like you just keep pushing forever if you give yourself more than a minute between sets. You always hear about people like with the idea of training to failure, and I think it's a great idea. Um, but I'm always aware that when you train for failure, usually it's just the illusion of failure. Like you're chances are really good. You never are completely killing your body, like what it can do. And after you've hit that last set super hard and your muscles are exhausted and you're like, I can't do anymore, I guarantee you take a 2-minute break, 3-minute break, and hit it again. And you'll be like, oh, I can keep going. From working hard jobs, I know like you move heavy stuff all day. You just need a little bit longer of a break, and you'll be able to hit it again harder. After like I'd be done working 8-hour shifts, and then the all day of moving like bags of seed. Eventually, that season would come to an end, and I wouldn't be it because it was a seasonal job. So then I'd have to go back to being in the gym. It was just so frustrating being in the gym because like there is no way I can be in here and get as good of a workout as I did like while I'm actually working. And I'd have to spend so many hours in here just to get that same level of workout. But if all you've ever done is lifted weights in a gym, there's a good chance that you just don't know how hard the body can be pushed. We're switching to shoulder press. One guy was on YouTube was suggesting that I do the bicep curls from a seated position instead of standing. And it's funny is I haven't thought about doing them at a seated position for a long time because I just hate sitting and working out. And it makes sense for shoulder press. Obviously, it makes sense for bench press. But even with shoulder press and bench press, man, I hated sitting down or laying down in a gym. I get very like paranoid when lots of people are around, and I hate like it's very hard for me to relax and not feel vulnerable, especially when bench pressing around a bunch of people. So I would never like sit down willingly if it wasn't absolutely necessary to do the workout. But I may consider doing some bicep curls sometime, sitting down. Not today, because today is shoulders. But who knows what tomorrow will bring. And it's always interesting, like things that like happen when you're younger, and the influences they have as you are older. I don't like if I'm going to the bathroom in public and I'm using a urinal. I don't like when people are walking around behind me a lot. It makes me tense. Because like when I was in I think fourth grade, I was going to the bathroom and someone came behind me and smashed my head on the that because like the post for the plumbing. And that was fun. Made me super tense for the longest time. Now I'm better at it. Like I don't get as like worried that someone's gonna smash my head when I'm using the bathroom, but that did take a moment to get past. All right, this is the 20 pounds, 9.07 kilograms. When when I was a kid, we read a lot of the Berenstein books, Berenstein Bear books, and I was at the used bookstore the other day and I saw a bunch of them for sale, so I got them for my kids, and they're good books. I was reading the Too Much TV last night and had to talk about how I talk about like how like your iPad or your tablet is the same as the TV. Dixie Vixie says, "Hello, you have 40 followers. I'm so happy." Yeah, I was excited. I was on vacation this last weekend. I went camping, and when I got back, I was at 40 followers. I was like, "Oh, that's cool." That was a cool surprise when I got home. But when reading the Berenstein books, they have one book that's about teasing and one book that's about bullying. And they talk about why it's not good to be teasing. But it's funny is when I hear people talk about bullying today, I feel like those two things got lumped together. Like because the book about bullying had to do with physical altercations, and the book about teasing was all of the like verbal abuse. And it's interesting that today those are like combined topics: bullying and or the physical side of bullying and the verbal teasing or online teasing. How was camping, Dixie Vixie? Yes, it was great. It was a lot of fun. I loved it. We were with my wife's family, and there were tons and tons of kids for my kids to play with. So that was a lot of fun. It was nice to see because like I grew up with cousins and stuff, and it's nice to watch my kids have cousins to play with. So it was a blast. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I did I did think like so I was like really active. We were doing a lot of walking around, swimming, and stuff. I thought for sure I was gonna come home and see some weight loss on the scale, and I was like super excited about that. And I got on the scale, and it was like, oh, 3 pounds. And I know a lot of it's like water weight. Like as soon as I start working out during the week, it drops off. But I thought it would be less. Um, until I remembered like Friday night, my mother-in-law made fry bread, and she like doesn't make fry bread a lot. Usually it's like maybe once a year or twice a year. And I gorged myself on fry bread on on Friday night. I ate a lot of fry bread, so that's probably a contributing factor to the weight gain. But it's hard. Fry bread. I said it yesterday. Fry bread and like homemade tortillas are hard hard for me to pass up on. My great grandmother made the best like tortillas I ever had. Um, and they were like on the like thicker side, and they were so good. It was rough when she like started losing her memory, because there were a couple of times where you got excited because she had made the tortillas, but she had forgotten the recipe or added too much of this or that because someone wasn't watching because she had Alzheimer's. So she still would want to cook, but she would forget how much of what she added. And then she reached the point where she had to stop cooking. But they were the best tortillas I ever had. Did you have a good weekend, Dixie? My wife and I started watching. Well, she started watching. I was loosely paying attention to that Taylor Swift documentary on HBO that talks about her and her previous manager, Scooter Bronson, I think his name is. Can't remember his whole name, but just the conflict between the two of them, and it was pretty. It was interesting to watch. There were a lot of elements to consider. I definitely think that she made some smart moves to get her music back or to redo her music. It's such a foreign world to me, the music business. All right, here we go. Oh, come on. Ah. That was frustrating. I just needed one more. One more would have been better than last week. That being said, I'm not going to beat up myself too hard because I did do a lot more, or did more with my lateral raises this week. So it did have increases. It'd just be nice to have increases on everything. All right. Then move to 35 pounds. We're watching that thing on Taylor Swift, and it reminded me of this girl I knew that was a Taylor Swift fan, and you could tell whatever was happening in her relationship at the time, based off of her ring back when you called, whatever Taylor Swift song you had on there. You'd be like, oh, things aren't going great in your relationship. And you'd be like, oh, well, this song is a little happier, so your relationship must be going good. And the sad part was, she was just obsessed with some guy who had friend zoned her. So it made the songs extra sad because you knew that it wasn't even about a real relationship. At times it was like someone in the friend zone pining over someone. I've never been one to pursue something that's gone into a friend zone. I've never understood that. Like, I've never been like, hey, let's be the friend and then swoop in. Or like wait for an opportunity. I always felt that you should be a mutual attraction for a relationship to work. And if you like pursue someone, your whole tactic for dating is to wear someone down to the point where they will agree to go out with you. I feel like that's not the best tactic. And I found that if you do like someone, but it's not happening, your chances of ever getting with them go up if you just move on. If you move on and they see you in another relationship and there was any chance that they were ever going to like you or ever want to be with you, it'll show up when they see you with someone else. They'll be like, oh, then they'll come around. Plus, don't forget, the longer you stay pursuing someone when you're in the friend zone, the creepier you are, and the more likely that creepy status is going to stick to you wherever you go. you're just going to develop into a creeper. And that's gross. I've seen a few people develop into being creepers because they just couldn't let something go. And then they move on to their next crush. And they're a creeper there. And they just become a perpetual friend zone creeper. It's super creepy and annoying if you friend zone someone and they just can't get the hint. Or when you like start dating someone or you take somebody out a couple of times and you find out that they're obsessive and psycho, then you got to try and ease your way out of a relationship. My roommate when I was younger taught me the greatest lesson, and it's like don't let a girl come around your house or like your friends so you know she's not psycho. Like, so you're 100% sure she's a rational human being. Don't do it, because once they know where you live, it's way like scarier dealing with a psycho. And there was like one girl out when I worked at the mall when I was younger. She seemed like a really cool girl. She was really nice. It seemed like we would chat at her kiosk. And then we went out a couple of times, and it turned out she was crazy and stalking. So don't bring strangers to your place. But even not just strangers, like you need to give it like a few like dates or some time, because some of them can be really sneaky with how crazy they are. Like they learn from past relationships how to put off their crazy like longer and longer. So yeah, so this girl I met at the mall, like when I was younger, like turned out to be crazy. And she was talking one time though about her like past relationship. And this is when like I realized, oh, this girl is like nuts. Like I gotta like cut ties. And she was like, yeah, like I really loved him, but I really love the way you make me feel. And I was like, you know what? Sounds like you didn't give that other relationship enough time. You should go back and be honest with that guy. She's like, yeah, I didn't really tell him how I felt. I was like, yes, go back. Go back. And it worked for like a few days. And then she was still around. Then you had to be more direct. And it sucks. It sucks when you have to be direct and hurt someone's feelings. That's like the hardest part of getting out of a relationship that's not working. But then she like would stalk me at work, which is a lot easier to deal with than if someone's stalking at home. Plus, I'm a guy. Like I'm bigger than her, so there's a limit to like how much she can do. I can't imagine the flip side of being a girl stalked by a guy. That's a level of anxiety I've never had to deal with. And I feel like it's like a weird thing in America. I don't know about the rest of the world, right? You know, it's a weird thing in California. Is it's like it's hard to get restraining orders and stuff, and then you are limited